Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to a frantic edition of Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
and me, Jennifer,
have a few drinks
and talk shit about our kids.
Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Guide to Poor Parenting.
And Facebook, TikTok at Poor Parent Pod.
If you have any funny stories about your kids,
or if you need some bad parenting advice,
call us at 256-274-1329.
And leave a message.
Now, Jennifer, this is one of our guest episodes.
Yes.
And I am so excited because I have been trying to get, he is the friend I've had the longest in my life to come on this podcast since we started, because he is full of fun and exciting stories. So if we had an audience, I would say clap, but since we don't, Jennifer, welcome our friend, my best friend, my oldest friend, Feej. Hi, Feej.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, it was crazy trying to get on here.
Yes.
Yeah, we tried to do it last week, and then it was just like the timing was not working out.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think I'm busy, and then you tell me about what you're doing with your life, and I'm like, no, Feej is busy.
I'm busy.
You are busy. What do you do for a living, Feej?
A lot of things. I am a flight attendant, and I'm also a nurse.
A whore of the skies and a nurse.
Yeah.
And a whore of the
hospital.
Ground.
Oh, the hospital.
Whore of the hospital. Not anymore.
He's been married. In the ground.
He's been married too long to be a whore anymore.
I'm reformed.
He's a good girl, he is.
That's right.
So most people would find one career taxing. How did you land on... I know the reason why you're both a flight attendant and a nurse, but tell our listeners why you decided to have both careers.
Well, initially, because after I graduated from college, my degree's in marine biology. After I graduated in college, I really couldn't find a job. And then, so I had a couple leads, some
doing what?
They were garbage. One of them was at a almost like Terminex, because I had that degree in chemistry as well. So it was doing pest control. But in the winter, one of the things was also we'd be selling Christmas lights, and then so I'm just running a shop. It made no sense. Then there was a cemetery caretaker in Montana that I got offered. There was a random aquarium, like a freshwater aquarium store in San Antonio. I was offered a position. Like, it was just random stuff that I'm like, paid $8 an hour. And I'm like, so then I ended up waiting tables at Chi-Chi's, if y'all remember them.
They don't have them here, but I remember them in Texas.
Yeah, and then they shut down. They shut down after a big tomato listeria or something. I don't know. And then I was like, well, my friend was like, I'm going to be a flight attendant. And I'm like, well, I'll be one too. And that's how that happened.
And it wasn't one of those regional airlines too, to begin with?
Yeah, it was a regional. It was an airline that doesn't exist anymore. And
come on, Southwest Airlines.
Right. It was cute. It was fun.
Was it? I remember you being very poor in those days.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was making $17 an hour living in DC, which was nothing. And then then I went through that bitter breakup, and then I decided to do what Angela Bassett did in Waiting
burn
to
his
Exhale.
car?
But just pick up and move to Phoenix.
Oh, you didn't burn the car.
No, I just literally picked up and moved to Phoenix.
Gotcha. When you say Angela Bassett, only thing, Waiting to Exhale, car on fire with all the clothes, that's what I was thinking.
Knowing Feej, I'm surprised he didn't.
I would have if I had a driveway, but we were in an apartment.
So do you remember that a few years ago when that flight attendant got so frustrated, he's like, fuck it, and opened the emergency hatch? And
yes!
I thought it was you for a second. Until I realized, when I saw the picture of the flight attendant, I was like, oh God, I could see Feej doing this.
Right. I want to. And I'm so tempted to, but I I push through every single day. It's a struggle.
So how old were you when you started being a flight attendant?
26, I think.
And so
That's
you're
about
kind of
right.
vested now, like you got
Oh,
where you can pick
yeah,
your own flights and
no. I'm
oh,
not
okay.
I'm just to the point to where I'm not junior, but I'm not really senior, but
Okay.
I can I can generally pick within like 5 or 6 that I'm like, okay, I'll be able to hold one of these. And then so it's not
When you
bad.
say hold one of these, what do you mean?
So my schedule is so I just go to LA and back. And then so like if I see the schedule and like, ooh, there's LA and then there's San Francisco and there's San Diego or there's Seattle. I know when I bid for my shifts, I'm gonna be able to hold one of them. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna be able to hold, but I know
Gotcha.
I'm gonna be able to hold. That's one of those is gonna be my schedule.
But you're not senior enough to like hold like a Asia line or something like that.
Oh, Asia, no. Europe, yes,
Because
but
isn't it true with when you're getting paid that you want longer flights because your pay doesn't start until the door closes like on the airplane? Is that true?
you are correct. You are
Okay.
correct.
And so you want longer
So
flights. So your East Coast right now is where you live. So you would want West Coast to have longer
correct.
flights than you do in an hour because that's technically like 5 hours out of your life and you only get paid for like the hour, right?
Exactly. So now, if I were to do Europe, we'll just say Brussels or Paris. It's 7 hours
Okay.
there, and then you're there for a day, and then it's 7 hours back. So you're paid for 14 hours in 3 days. Now, if I go to LA and back every single day, I could have 30 hours in 3 days.
Mm.
Okay.
And I know, like, having known you for, oh God, we're going on. I met you in '98. So
Yeah.
we'll have known each other for 30 years in 3 years.
Yeah,
We're fucking old.
we
Um,
are. We
but
are.
I know how much you love Paris. Why don't you tell our listeners how much you love Paris?
Jesus. Well, the thing was, like, it's not that Paris is bad. Paris is very lovely. But we were always poor. Like, you didn't make any money back then. You
Mm.
were so poor. And then, so when I'd get sent to Paris, and I'd get sent to Paris 3 or 4 times a month for years. So when you see a city, and then it's a very walkable city. It's very walkable. There's a lot to see, but if you don't have any money, there's not a lot to do. You could just see everything.
Mm.
And then it just got to the point to where I was just tired of seeing everything.
Right. And not doing
And then,
anything.
right, and not doing, and then when I actually had the money to do things, I'm like, fuck this place. I don't want to go. Like, after 10 years, I'm like, I can finally go up the arc. No, no, I have no desire.
I'm
I
Which
too
have
old
no
for this shit
desire.
now.
Right, right. I've seen it. I've done it. I've walked it. I don't need to go in. I'm sure Napoleon's tomb is very lovely. I'm sure it is.
and yet your poor husband, who is a country bumpkin from West Virginia, I'm sure
Hmm.
wants to go there desperately, doesn't he?
He does. He does. And I fight it. But last year or 2 years, I can't remember what year now, we went to London. So, like, that helped appease that. And then last year we went to Egypt. And then, so I'm knocking off places that he's always kind of wanted to go. And then, so we'll see. But we're going to Zimbabwe next month.
Oh,
Ooh,
cool.
fun.
So you would think that, but I hate traveling. I really hate traveling. Like when I go there, I'm gonna have a great time, but just the concept of packing up my stuff and going to the airport, I have zero desire to do.
Well,
I
couldn't you
don't.
like try to bid for it and then like work and then that
No, we
way?
don't fly to Zimbabwe, and even
Oh,
if we
okay.
did, absolutely not. Absolutely
No,
not. No,
I was trying.
no.
Do you get discounts at least?
Yeah, yeah, but our discount, it was cheaper to fly on Lufthansa than it was to fly on us
Which is
with our
sad.
discount. So I know. So we're going on Lufthansa, and
I love
then
Lufthansa just because I'm
so do
German.
I.
So
Did
So
I
cute.
don't think I told you this, but I remember a few years back I was flying. I don't remember what airline, but I was flying somewhere, and this lady next to me we started chatting, and she's like, "Oh, I was like, why are you going to wherever we were going?" She's like, "Oh, my son lives there. He works for this airline, so he's able to get us on." I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "Is he a flight attendant?" She looked at me like I like spat on her. She's like, "No, he's an engineer or some like hoity-toity." And I was like, "Oh, well,
Right.
sorry."
Right. Right.
Sorry, ma'am.
He's
He
not at
has
the
real
bottom of the
certifications.
barrel.
It's not a
Right.
goddamn flight attendant.
Not a goddamn flight attendant.
All right, so
Ugh.
you're a flight attendant. You're still a flight attendant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you start nursing?
COVID, because
Okay.
we were laid off, and then I needed a gig, so I was like, I need something because it was all uncertain. It was no one knew what was going on with
Right.
COVID, but I knew that
And her
I
husband's a nurse too.
yeah, my husband is a nurse. So I made the executive decision because one of the things that we were able to do was take 100,000 out of our 401k without penalty because of the COVID relief, whatever. So I took 100,000 out. We paid our mortgage for a year. We paid all the car payments for a year. We paid the water, electric, everything for a year already out of that. And then with leftover, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go to nursing school. We don't have to worry about any bills
So except for
because,
food and gas, if you go
yeah, food
anywhere,
and
that's
gas.
it.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, so, well, let me do this because it's also something where your return of investment is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
amount of money I'm putting in versus what I can actually get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was like, it had a much higher ROI. So I was able to finish nursing school. Very fortunate with COVID.
Did you do it
And then
online or in person?
online, I was online, well, and in person technically. The first year we weren't allowed on clinical sites,
Mm-hmm.
so we had virtual clinicals, and it was stupid, but okay,
Yeah, I did
all
chemistry
right,
online, and it was like this beaker needs to go here. This
right.
liquid needs to go into that. Yeah, it was like this is just
Stupid.
stupid, but whatever. I
Yeah, it was
passed.
stupid. It was stupid.
Yeah.
And then so for the first year, and then actually for the first year and a half, I really didn't have in-person clinicals. And then my last semester, I was like, okay, so my last semester we had clinicals, and being able to graduate from nursing school and literally start as a nurse when you've never even gave somebody a pill was
Right.
a little bit daunting.
Well, you
You're
have
like, oh,
kids, so you've put
I do.
band-aids on, you've given
Yeah,
pills,
Band-Aid.
you've
Right, but
kissed a
they're all
boo-boo.
like, yeah, they're all like, okay, so in a couple weeks, I'm gonna be in charge of people's lives, and I don't really, I mean, I can tell you how to do it on a simulator. It was just a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Let's
So,
put this IV in this real person, and I've only done it through a simulation.
can you tell I've never put in an IV in someone?
Really?
Yes,
You like
I've
the
never done it.
work. You like working with the old folks, though, don't you?
Oh my God, I love my old people. I love my old people. I love nursing home. I love skilled nursing facilities. I love hospice.
Well, you're just
Mm.
a people person too. Like you're
I
very
am.
easy to talk
Well,
to. I've only met him once,
well.
guys, and when I met him, it just could be me because I'm awesome. But we hit it off, and that's how the impression I got.
Feed
No,
is.
I have the ability to be very outgoing.
I will say that
Yeah.
I was like, Feed is when he's your friend, he's a blast. Um, I will say though, for the last 30 years, you have been a grumpy old man since day
Yes.
one.
Yes.
I remember we were in college in the dorms, and he made one of my dorm mates cry.
Well, they
I sure
probably
did.
needed it. They deserved
No,
it.
it's some
No.
dude that we were like in my dorm, like had a daddy fetish, and Feed just like teased the shit out of him until he cried. It was
Because
so
it made no fucking sense. We were like 20 and 21, and then like,
I'm not your
why are you
daddy.
into Santa Claus? Like, it wasn't even like muscle daddies. It was like
yeah.
fat old
He
men
showed us
in
a picture
tubs.
of like a Santa Claus naked in a bathtub. He's like, "This is my kind of guy." I was just like, "Okay, whatever." And Feed just ripped into his ass. So
I was
funny.
Whatever.
I mean, like, I will say you are personable and you know how to turn on the charm, but I don't think it's like something. I never got the impression it was something you just love to do.
Oh, correct. That's
Well,
very,
he,
very correct.
you must have just did that for me, and I
No, it
felt the
was,
love.
and then it was a celebration.
It
You know what I'm
was,
saying?
yeah,
So it wasn't like we're just going out on a Tuesday.
right.
Mm.
When we weren't
Hmm.
prepping to stick a suppository up our best friend's ass.
Oh yeah, that's joyful.
Yeah, good
Mm.
times.
Great
I'm glad I
time.
wasn't part of that. I think I was
Oh,
out drinking with Lindsay and Bill.
Yeah, probably. Lindsay's been on the podcast.
Yep.
All right,
that's
so
awesome.
this is actually a good spot. So, Mr. Feach, what are we drinking today?
Hmm. Oh, I am drinking Glenfarclas Scotch.
Do you have the bottle?
Um,
Not handy.
Not handy.
no, I
Okay.
have,
We'll
I
get it
have.
after.
There you go.
Did you steal it from the airline?
Um,
Admit that on the podcast, honey. Come on.
Yeah.
Admit your thievery.
Just plead the fifth. We're good.
I don't know. I will say that it was at the house.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
How I got it in your bag, you don't know.
Oh, it wasn't in my bag.
Oh, okay. Somebody else's bag.
I
That.
right before the podcast, I was like, I'm gonna stop at the
Liquor store.
liquor store, and I was like, see if I could find it. And it was some poor Indian woman. She didn't understand. She was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "I think it's called Glenfarclas. I'd never heard of it before." And like a lot of our liquor stores are closed on Sundays, so I was just. And
Hmm.
she's like, "Is it Glenlivet?" And I was like, "Sure, Glen something." So I was just like, "Okay," but motherfucker, like the one I got was $50 for a fifth. And I was like,
Oh,
"It's not bad." Jennifer doesn't like Scotch that much.
But it's not
hmm.
as peaty as Lefroy. Have you had Lefroy?
I'd have to see the bottle.
Okay, I don't
Okay.
have a
It
bottle.
sounds familiar though.
It's very peaty. Like when I had a sip of it, I felt like I was licking a rock.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I mean, that's the only way that I could describe it. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I did not like it. I'm a whiskey more than a Scotch girl, but I'm
Okay.
Irish too. So
Yeah, I like
Well, there it
the.
is.
This is probably the first Scotch I've ever had. It tastes a lot like just plain. I mean, like American whiskey. I don't have much point of reference, so I couldn't tell you. But
Hmm.
any notes on yours? Like, what does yours taste like?
could you put the outline?
Kind of oaky.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
A little bit of smoke.
We like smoke.
Um, um,
That's about it.
yeah,
Hey,
that's about
that's
it. A
that's a
slight burn, but not.
that is a
Mm.
better description than any video we've ever done for me
Hmm.
on when we have to like describe what we're tasting. I'm like, it tastes like alcohol.
Hold on. Let me
Or
let me let, let, let me redo that.
okay.
I get a hint of vanilla.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
Jason tries
Ooh,
so
cherry,
hard.
cherry.
Yeah, Jason tries so hard to be like, "Can you smell this in it?" And I'm like, I can't.
I can't.
Oh wow.
No.
Yeah, the Glenlivet is good. If it has peat in it, I don't taste any peat.
I didn't take it. It's not peaty like Lefroy.
Yeah.
If I'm saying that correctly, I could be, and then people are probably like, if they're listening to this, saying that's not how you say it, but that's what's stuck in my head.
Yeah. Trust me,
Um,
no one will comment, so don't worry.
No, that's true. I'm drinking Jameson because that is my
It's your jam.
whiskey.
Yeah.
Because what y'all are drinking is Scotch whiskey, and I'm drinking Irish whiskey. So it was my birthday present from Jason.
Speaking of Europe, I'm 47. I'll be 48 this year. So in 2027, I'll turn 50. We're gonna go to the Christmas markets in Germany.
Okay.
I know you're probably sick of them, but if you would like to join us, Jennifer's gonna come with us. We're gonna try and bring Kalia and Zane's mom. So if you want to come,
Now, are you just want to do Germany, or you want to do like country hop and go to Prague and all
we're
them?
probably gonna fly into like Berlin
Munich.
and then
Okay.
like just take trains everywhere and like stay
Okay.
a few days like I know we're gonna have to go to Nuremberg because that's where Jennifer's from, her family's from,
Hmm.
and I'd like to go to Strasbourg, which I think is
Oh, in Vienna.
France. What?
Oh, Strasbourg. Yeah. Okay.
But like we're kind of open. I just would like to do the Christmas. I would like to go to Germany because I've
Mm.
spent more time. I've only spent like a weekend there once, So
And I've spent many years in the Nürnberg
They're
Christmas
very
market is very, very nice. And you have that big church with the clock and the cuckoos, and it's just awesome.
Oh yeah, the Marienplatz and the Glockenspiel. But I feel like once you've done the markets, every market is pretty much the same.
yeah,
But it's fun. You just walk around and drink glue wine
And find pretzels or popcorn.
and find pretzels and
I mean, like
marzipan.
the markets are kind of big, kind of this like is kind
Secondary.
of the mascot for where we're going. I just want to go spend some time in Germany and kind of city
Fair.
hop. So like I just want to find like one central location to fly into, and then we'll like city hop. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if Roy would like to join us or if you would like to come. But if you want to come at least for a couple of days, you're invited.
Okay, because like I know next year we're doing the monarch butterfly migration in February,
Where's that
and
at?
then
That's in
it's in
Mexico, isn't it?
Mexico. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to Rwanda and Uganda to do the gorilla and chimpanzee trek.
Oh.
Look at
hmm
you.
So do
I
you
know.
guys try to do something every year? That's what it's kind
Yeah,
of
but
sounding like.
we go with a group of nurses.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only reason like I get excited about it is not necessarily the travel aspect. I mean, when I'm there, I'm having a good time and it's
Mhm.
great to see things, but I don't get excited to go places anymore. So I don't even places I've never been. I'm like, no. I
Yeah,
mean, if we're there,
it
Well,
makes
you've
sense.
traveled so much that,
hmm
sitting at home on your couch is probably like, oh my God, people do this all
yes.
the time.
Like I would love to go. I would love to see the Taj Mahal. I have zero desire to go to India.
Yeah,
Fly over it.
Zero desire.
if you
Zero.
could
I
just
don't
like
want to.
walk
Just look
through
out the window, like, oh, there it is. Okay, bye.
There it
if
is.
you could just walk through a portal, visit for an hour, and then walk back home. Yep.
Yes, that would be it. That would be it. hmm
All
Okay,
right, so we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. It looks stupid. Feej is probably looking at us crazy.
No, I'm
I
fine.
like it just gives me a like I just to pull the curtain back on our podcast. We every time I say we're
Sure.
going to take a break, I literally like count to 5 on my hand, but it just gives me a pause in the audio file that I can find easily. So
Right.
that's all it is.
trying to get people to put some in there and give us some money.
Well, there you go.
We are up to 31 cents now.
Woohoo!
Hey, it's something.
It's
6
something.
seasons in.
We're hoping next season, or I was telling Jennifer I got so you might actually look into this too. There, a friend of mine told me about a website called Unclaimed Property, and I looked up.
hmm
He's like Google well unclaimed property and then your state name, and then you can look up your full name and see if you're owed any like leftover deposits or anything like that. Or so I just checked it out, and the Alabama one said, "Oh, you have." Something unclaimed property over $100. I was like, okay, well, I'll check it out. So I made the claim. Motherfucker, I got a $500 check.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I checked Texas, and I might have something in Texas, but it was like less than 100, so I didn't really care too much.
hmm
And Zane's got something for a little bit less than 100. So I don't know, you've lived all over the U.S., so you might check it to yourself.
Right. They'll be like unclaimed property. They're like, you owe.
It is unclaimed to us. Now give us.
Right. We want it
You've
back.
looked. We know where you are now. Give us
Give us your
our.
fucking money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we know that you are a flight attendant and
hmm
you are a nurse
hmm
and you have a husband.
Yes.
And you had a messy divorce, did it Angela Bassett.
Not a
divorce,
divorce, just a
Mhm.
sorry,
breakup.
breakup. I was thinking waiting
Yeah.
to excel. I was still with
Yep.
the car on
hmm
fire in my head. So you moved to Arizona when that happened, right?
Right.
Then when did you meet
Roy.
Roy? Because I called him Ray earlier, and I
That's all right.
apologize.
Oh, let me think. I was already working for the airline then, and
You met Roy.
we met.
So you and
Huh?
Roy are in West Virginia right now.
Yes.
Then were you living in West Virginia at the time, or were
I
you
was
out in
living
DC?
in. I had moved back to Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I had moved in Phoenix. I had interviewed for the airline. I thought I was gonna go to be based in Los Angeles, and they sent me to DC. So it was right back where I'm like, okay. And then me and Roy met on a website, and I can't remember the name of it.
Grind.
It was
Girl, this is before
we
smartphones.
call it eHarmony for faggots. I don't know what it is. The one because eHarmony got sued.
Was it
And
Manhunt?
not right, no. No,
Craigslist.
eHarmony got sued and then so because eHarmony didn't produce same-sex compatibility,
Oh, okay.
so they created a same-sex
Was it eCupid or
website.
something like that?
No, it wasn't that, but it was something like
It
that. But it
doesn't matter.
was
You
It
met them
doesn't matter.
online,
it doesn't matter. We
right?
met them online, yeah.
And what?
Basically, eHarmony gave us like a year or whatever it was trial for free, and then he's literally the first person I met on eHarmony.
Oh wow.
I just
And this was
yeah.
2005 or 6 or 4, somewhere in there.
I don't. We'll say 6 or 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Was
It
it?
was kind of before, like around the introduction of smartphones. I remember that.
Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't have a smartphone then, so I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. No, it's before smartphones. Well, I don't know. We'll just say 2007.
Okay.
Okay. AOL.
Because we had been dating before I ended up we had been dating for like a year and a half before I even moved to West Virginia. So it was I don't know the exact time. We really.
Okay. So you
Hmm.
talked along a lot on whatever you were talking on for a year and a half, or did you just like go meet each other?
No, we were talking because the way it was set up is that like you have to correspond through email and then like you kind of get to know them because
Right.
you start to and it tells you matched on 71% on your views on children, on whatever.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then so you start to have all these things in common and then so you start talking about them. So you start through email and then I ended up flying out there just for the day and back that night.
Did you say Denver?
Later. No, I end up flying out there for the day.
Oh, for the day. Okay, sorry.
And then I would just fly out there for the day and then just come back that night.
Okay. And you
Hmm.
met him for the day
The day.
and you liked him,
Yeah,
I
well,
guess, since
well.
I will say one of my favorite stories when Fee started dating Roy is that y'all were not too far into the relationship, and I think you told me that he said he's like, "I'm so glad I met you. I'm not into lookers."
Yes, that he did. And then that
what?
that got me like
Oh, that was
because
so
he
funny.
burned me so bad, and then I laughed my ass
The
off because I
shade
just found
of
the
it
humor in it.
all.
I know. I
Oh
was like,
wow.
this motherfucker.
Oh
He was
my
all like,
goodness.
he's all like, yeah, I don't go for lookers. I was like, you asshole.
That is
That was the best.
funny.
Oh God,
So
I'm.
that is when you fell in love.
That was the start.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm gonna
The
put a ring on
start.
that.
All right.
So I guess when you moved from DC to West Virginia to be with him, I'm guessing.
Mm,
No.
okay, so me and Michael were roommates.
And
So
Michael is
Mike,
a friend of y'all's, same time period, went to school
yeah, we all went to
together, all
college
that.
together.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
hmm And then Michael um, had an opportunity in Texas, and then he had let me know like 2 weeks. He's all like, "I'm moving to Texas in 2 weeks," and I'm like, we were living in DC, and I'm like, I can't do this shit
Right.
by myself, and so I had 2 weeks to pack up my stuff, and I'm like, Roy, I'm moving in. He's like, oh, okay.
Hey,
That's kind of how it happened. It
Aw.
wasn't some grandiose plan. Like I think we're ready for the next step.
we're gonna
It's
try
Mm-mm.
this shit out and see how it
No,
works.
I was incredibly resistant to it.
I would
I didn't want to live
understand
in West
why.
Virginia. Right. I didn't want to live in West Virginia. I didn't want to live like I liked our situation. Like we were able to do our own thing. We were able to see each other.
Right.
It was just I just liked it was just a nice setup. And then when I moved to West Virginia, it changed everything because then now I had a 6 hour drive to work.
Gotcha. That's a
Mm,
long drive to work.
yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I just can't to keep going back and forth. That, yeah.
Well, I will say you weren't commuting that every week though, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So
Yeah.
how long were you and Roy talking and kind of seeing each other off and on before you had to move in with him? Because
I would say it was over a year, but I would say less than a year and a half. So probably a year and 2 months to a year and a half, somewhere around
well,
there.
that's not
Damn.
too bad. At least you knew him a little bit,
Oh no, yeah,
but you don't know
absolutely.
all the quirks of
Living with
living
someone.
together. That's when you
Right.
learn everything. Seeing somebody on a weekend is way different than
Mm-hmm.
24/7, or in your case, I don't know, 24 20. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Doesn't matter.
I
I
don't
was trying to do
know.
math with 6 hours, and I can't do math.
That's fair.
Okay, so you and Roy now move living together. You're driving 6 hours.
Well, I
Mm-hmm.
want to back up one
Okay,
second.
sorry.
So Roy is a ex Jehovah's Witness. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yes. So
Like Prince.
he is no Prince was an active Jehovah's Witness.
No. He was, but I would just do is just
Yeah.
I just want to do the ooh
So
Jehovah's Witness.
lovely Roy is comes from a very religious family. There's a lot of internalized homophobia, I would probably say.
Yes.
So yeah, I
Mhm.
remember that vague distinctly from y'all, the beginning of y'all's relationship, because it's like the family support was not there.
Did they
No.
live in West Virginia as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And Roy, if I vaguely remember this, like, and Roy, if you're listening to this, I apologize. Like, Roy is like he wants the approval of his family a lot.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Is it better now?
No, yes and no. Well, okay, so it is. It is. It is. It's a lot better, but it depends. There are months when his parents are like, "We're going to the hall. We're going to the hall,"
What's that?
and
The church.
the
Oh,
Kingdom Hall.
okay.
So their church, and so we don't associate with them on certain times. They'll invite us over for a dinner like twice a year. I mean, like the olive branch, it's just like let's be civil, let's
Right.
be nice. Um, yeah.
Okay.
But they also have they're estranged from two of their daughters as well. And that was interesting because Roy's mom, she's all like, and we had to cut two people out of the will. And I'm like, but did you though? But did you really have to cut two
You
people
didn't
out the
have
will?
to. You just
I know.
did.
I'm like, really? I mean, like, I'm like, Cindy, I've been to your house. What really are they? Is it really going to be a loss? Are they going to really
We're not
be
going to win the trailer in the.
exactly, exactly, exactly?
Oh boy.
So
So were they, I guess, disowned because of religion or sexuality
no,
or
no.
If you don't want to go
They
into
were
it, you don't
just
yeah.
have to.
rebellious.
I was just gonna
Yeah, they were
see.
just rebellious.
Okay.
And
I was just gonna see if y'all hang out because they've been disowned
no,
and
no one in
okay.
the family really hangs out with anyone, even though that they all were like super tight growing up.
Yeah, that's
I
sad.
mean, it's kind of sad, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay,
Hmm.
so you moved into
Then,
a very cold situation. Is the
very
best way
much
that I
so.
can think to say that. Not
Hmm.
much love. When how long into y'all's relationship in West Virginia did you say, okay, we're gonna start fostering? Right?
Foster.
Y'all
Yeah, y'all
foster
Yeah,
started with
first,
foster
right?
care, if I remember.
right. Because Roy has this. Roy is, and I'm pretty sure Zane is like this too. Roy will have the idea, but not the plan.
Oh,
Oh, Zane
uh,
won't even have the plan or
or
the
the
idea.
idea.
No,
Yeah, no, it's me
Well,
driving that.
really.
Well,
his
Zane will.
garden. If he hyper focuses on something because he has ADHD, so like his
Hmm.
garden,
Yeah,
he had the plan and he is actively
pursuing it.
pursuing it. But when Jason says, "Hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z," and then Zane's like, "Oh yeah, I can see that now." He doesn't say the now part, but and then it's still, "Hey, do you remember when we talked and you need to do X, Y, and Z?" And it's still.
And for Zane though, especially, it's a lot of like, hey, we should do this. And I'm like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm like,
did.
I'm not going
The,
to plan it. At first, I was like, okay, I'll take it over and plan it. Now I'm just like, okay, let me know when you're going to take care of that, and I'll help you.
because Roy does the exact same thing. But then, so Roy would be like talking about children, talking about children, talking about children, but and that's where it would end. So then I was volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club, and then so I
Aw,
was like,
love
well,
that.
why don't
Yeah.
we try fostering? Why don't we try fostering? And then he's all
Because that's
like,
a fun
I
and
don't
easy
know.
thing to do.
Right. And then so we had to go, to the classes.
Oh, Jesus.
And I know that we've all been through similar classes. Mine were a little bit different because I went through foster and then you went through adopt.
Hmm.
But for the most part, it's the same classes.
A lot of
And
goddamn
then
role
role
play.
play.
Hmm.
And horror
I cannot.
stories.
Yep.
I know. I can't like role play, role play, role play. And then so we did that. And then we got our first set.
I remember this first set. This is the goose story, right? Or the duck?
Yes, the duck.
Yep. I don't think Jennifer
So
knows the story, so tell it.
okay, so the very first time, because you get a call, and sure as shit, they call at like 9:40 at night, and then we're like, okay, so you have the list of questions that you're supposed to ask, and of course they don't know any of the answers because it was immediate removal because of a drug situation,
Right.
and they are coming with nothing because they
Don't
weren't
have
allowed to
anything.
bring anything. Right. So we're like, okay. So we had these two boys show up at our doorstep.
And y'all are in an
Okay.
apartment at this time.
We are in an
And
apartment.
how old are
And
the
then
boys, may I ask?
one was 7, the other one was 2.
Oh, and so
Okay.
they had nothing, and you don't have
They
clothes
had
for a
literally
7
nothing.
and a 2-year-old.
No, so we had to go to Walmart and then buy. They gave us vouchers, so we made the $250, buy socks, underwear, everything that we could,
Right.
and then um, the next day I get a call. They call me, and they're like, um, they were removed from a meth house, but they weren't medically cleared, so you need to take them to the hospital. I need to take them to the hospital and get them medically cleared. Oh, and since you don't have a car seat, we're not sure how you can do that.
Well, what the fuck?
You thought Alabama
You
DHR was
you
bad?
you brought these kids to us. You can't come pick these motherfuckers up and take them to the hospital yourself and do what
No,
you were supposed to do last night?
no,
Oh
no.
my
It was
god.
fortunate enough that we lived like 5 blocks and we were able to walk it, but it was
Oh
ridiculous.
my god.
It was ridiculous. So, like, first real day, I am walking a 7-year-old and basically a child
Yeah,
A
probably
to,
carrying
baby.
to
the
a
2-year-old.
baby
Yeah.
to the hospital and be like, we need to get checked out for meth,
Jeez. As one does.
as one
I
does.
just can't like
Oh, it gets worse.
okay.
Keep going.
Okay, and then so there was a lot of, I don't want to get, a lot of the stories I really can't tell,
Yeah,
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 but
we
yeah.
understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
sure. So, but there was um, a lot of situations that caused to a lot of anger issues.
Well, there's
Um,
trauma. That's
sure, there's
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of trauma.
definitely.
Right, lots of trauma. And then so um, the culmination, like the peak of it all was like we would be able to get into a rhythm and we would be able to like get everything settled. We'd be into something and then there'd be visitation with the sisters or the parent, or whatever, and then
They would fuck them up, probably.
yes, and then they would act up and then they would act a fool for 2 more weeks and
Get
then
back in the rhythm. And that is
and it was just
we hear
bad.
with every fosters like
Hmm.
it's a like you have to reset and restart all over
Yes,
again. Yeah.
it's horrible. And then the final straw for me was we were walking at the park. And then like it's a little path around the lake. There's a little swing set. There's a little, play area.
Right.
And then as we're walking around the lake, they have these ducks. And I was stupid to be like, the oldest was like, "Can I chase the ducks?" And I'm like, "Sure," because you're not going to catch them. That's fine.
They're ducks.
Yeah, no,
They're-
don't do that. Don't chase
Oh, just wait.
Okay.
Oh no. So he would try to chase the ducks, and then they would run away, and then he'd sit down, and then they would just kind of gather, thinking that he'd have bread, and then he'd chase them, and then they'd run away, and then he picked up a rock. And when I say a rock, it's not like, oh, I can hold it in my
A
hands. It's
pebble.
probably a rock that's at least 12 inches. Like it's like a foot.
It's
Like
a
it's almost like a
boulder.
mini boulder.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
mini boulder.
For a 7-year-old's hand, it's a boulder.
And he smashed that duck's head in.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I literally ran and I picked him up, and people are staring at me. And then I pick him up and I'm walking with him,
I'm surprised
in
you're
my
not
arm.
running.
I was just like, and I'm like, we are talking about this in therapy.
That's gonna fix everything.
Because
Oh my
I had nothing else to say. And then like the next day, he had visitation with
no.
the family, and then they got really out of control, and then Roy flipped the hell out and spanked. And then we called DHHR to be like, it's just not working out. It's not, we put something on it. We tried.
He killed a
It's not-
duck. I can't do it.
Yeah, he killed the duck.
Yeah.
He murdered the duck.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that started
They-
your foster journey.
yeah.
So you didn't
Yeah.
keep the 2 or the 7-year-old. They went back into
Mm-mm.
custody.
They went back into custody.
And then it was like that night that they called you and said, "Hey, we have more kids for you," because that seems to be the way it is in
No.
Huntsville.
That would be how it would have been. However, I wasn't aware that since Roy had struck the kid that we were kind of like on a
Oh,
Probation.
probation list. And then we hadn't heard anything for like 2 or 3 months. And then Roy had called them to be like, we haven't heard anything. And then our worker was like, well, we might be able to give you another
Jesus.
Did they explain it to you at that time? Well, because you
Yeah.
spanked the child that
Uh-huh.
you were on like not even probation, but like we stopped.
You're on timeout.
Yeah.
Time
We
out.
were in kitty jail. Yes.
Yeah.
And then I found it funny because I'm like, this wasn't even my idea. Roy was the one that wanted to be a parent.
Right.
He's the one that's beating kids. But I was like, okay,
See, this is your
Okay.
this is your problem, Feige. You help him complete his ideas.
that's true.
See, if you
That's
would have just
true.
said right there, you spanked him, we're in kitty jail, we're not getting any more kids, it's over.
Frankly, further back, if you had said, "Okay, you want to have kids, great," and not done anything,
Right?
you wouldn't have kids.
Well,
We wouldn't have had
but
No.
he might like
Okay.
his kids now.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't got that far
Well,
into the interview yet.
well,
Keep going, Feige.
Okay. So then every time that we've had placements since then, I had no say in it. And when I say I had no say, I'd come home and there they would be.
So when Feige says he would have no say, what he means is he would go overseas on a flight for like a week, right?
hmm
And he would come back, and Roy will have accepted 2 or 3 kids into the house.
hmm
Yep.
hmm
Zay and I have talked.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Surprise,
And
surprise.
on more than one occasion, he accepted kids in the house, and then got so sick of them that he's like, Roy would be like, "Okay, I can't handle them. Take them back." Within the week that Feige was gone.
Oh, so did you even know about those?
Some of them, no.
Oh, God.
Some of them, no. Some of them I did not know existed.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
You
Oh.
are
Yeah.
you are an angel. Zay and I have talked about this on multiple occasions, and we both said it was like, if you ever did that shit, like I told Zane, I was like, if you ever did that to me, I would divorce you.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I had a partner and they did that and he did that to me, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to do me and you
Good luck.
take care. You figure out daycare or school.
Mhm.
I'm not touching that. That's all you because you did it. I didn't. Woo.
Right.
Okay. So
hmm
I know
So
that
then-
some of them stuck.
Yeah, so let's
Like
talk about
herpes.
two that we... Okay, so then we had Wesley and Isaac, and we got them, and
Well,
they were 7 and 5.
hold on. I'm going to back up a little bit because that was not your first
Okay.
pair that you actually adopted, though, was it?
Um,
Because Ethan and Nathan were
no,
your
but
first.
that's okay. Yes and no.
Okay.
They were the first pair that stuck, but they were the last ones to be adopted.
Oh, I didn't realize they were the last one to be adopted. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So Wesley
So
and
Isaac.
Wesley and Isaac.
they're 7 and 5?
No,
5.
that. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were 7 and 5.
Okay.
And then we they were I had known them previously.
Okay.
How?
Because I had knew them through the Boys and Girls Club.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, okay.
And I walk in and I see them and I'm like, these kids are assholes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I knew them before they got to the house. Like, I walk in and I see 2 assholes staring at me. I was like,
Why the
gotta
fuck
be
are you in my
fucking
house?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Did
You
you
don't
invite them
I,
over from the Boys and Girls Club,
Oh,
Roy?
no,
Like,
no.
why are you
It
in my
was
house?
Because his
it
husband.
was that scene from
No, that's what I'm
Clue
saying.
where the flames, the flames.
Hades?
No, from
Clue.
Clue with
Jennifer Tilly.
Madeline Kahn.
Oh, yeah.
Flames.
Whatever.
Flames on the
Yeah.
sides of my head.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it was.
I thought you were talking
And
about you could see the blue flames from the kids.
no, I was just like, I can't believe that they are here. And they're ours now, so I can go ahead and talk about their situation. They were removed for neglect and drugs, basically. And so, like, what a lot of a lot of situations in West Virginia is that a lot of removals happen at the beginning of the school year because
Because the teachers see the
summer,
kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
during the summer, there's no real visual of how the kids are doing.
Right.
And then when they start coming back in the fall, is when they're like, oh, these kids look like shit. These kids
They haven't had a
bathed.
bath in a
Yeah,
year, ain't got no shoes
exactly,
on, wearing the same
exactly.
clothes from last year. Did you not
hmm
notice anything when they were at the Boys and Girls Club, or were you only doing that like after school?
I was doing it. I would do it only when I was home because I was still working. So
Okay, I got you.
I wasn't there every single day,
Gotcha.
but I knew them from that. And then I'm like, okay. So they were troublesome. They were troublesome.
They're still troublesome.
They are,
Don't
I
you
don't know.
well me, sir.
He's trying to be
Well,
nice, just in
no,
case
I
they
don't
listen.
think only one is kind of sort of now. I don't know.
Okay. Continue your
Well,
story.
yeah. So it was just a lot of aggression, a lot of anger. There's a lot of still unknown abuse because every time that we would go to Ohio, and I say that because we're 2 minutes from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes we would go, just to the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, we're closer to this Kroger. Let's just go to this one. And then one would just flip out that we're going to Ohio. Like he would have straight panic attack. And we were never able to figure it out. And he's always been hush hush about it. So we don't know what. Obviously, there's some real negative shit that happened in Ohio.
Right.
And we're not able to. I still don't.
Wow.
But but over the years, like they would go and then, the mom would get put on a correction plan and then she'd meet the benchmarks and then put on a different correction plan and meet the benchmarks. So eventually they went back to them. She ended up being able to like piss clean. She had an apartment. They all had furniture. They all had whatever. So then after almost 2 years, they went back to them.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
she got
then,
her stuff together because
mhm,
fostering, that's what they're trying to do, is reunite the family.
right, it's reunification.
Right.
Reunification. And I was okay with it. I was
You were
perfectly
ready to get rid of
content.
them hellions.
Yes, I mean, yes, I did. Yeah.
And just tell
Yeah,
her don't go anywhere near Ohio.
pretty much. Or go to Ohio, and then
Just
I
leave
don't.
me out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I was done. And then it really coincided with us buying our house because we had purchased the house and then we were moving in 1 week after they went home.
Oh wow.
And
So
now, is this
it worked
the
out.
house you're in
y-
now?
Yeah, the
Okay.
house we're in. Okay. And then,
So you were in an apartment with the 5 and 7-year-old still.
mm-hmm,
And, and
mm-hmm,
then you moved into a house, what, 3 bedroom,
Oh, like
4 bedroom.
5.
4 bedroom?
Yeah, it's a huge house.
Okay. Were
So
you doing that because you had the kids? Was that
No, because Roy fell in love with that house.
Oh, okay.
so I
So mostly Roy makes a lot of decisions is what I'm hearing.
and
Basically,
Fiji gets pulled into it.
right,
And
yeah.
helps pay for it.
No, I will say what happens. Fiji or Roy's like, we should do this, and then Roy helps him complete the plan, and then is
Feed
gets
show.
pissed off because it's like, God damn it, why am I here?
Pretty much.
I will say, so for Jennifer, do you remember my cousin Kelly in
Yep.
St. Louis? So you remember my cousin Kelly, Fiji?
Mm-hmm.
They actually
Mhm.
just got hit by tornadoes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they had to evacuate the house because they got hit. But Fiji, his neighborhood is kind of on par with that. It's like a
Bougie
like
got the security guard following you while
not
you
that
drive.
bougie,
Okay.
but it's like really old houses, beautiful,
Really close
It's
together.
historical.
not that close together,
Okay.
but they're like beautiful, like turn of the century houses, huge. Some of them are fucking mansions, as far as I'm
Yes,
concerned.
yes,
Slave
they are.
quarters.
Not that
Slave stairwell.
more like
There are houses that still have those. Yeah.
yeah, but a lot of them are like robber baron shit from
Yeah.
steel barons and those
Yeah.
sort of things.
Okay.
So it like it's a beautiful neighborhood. I would say yours is probably like the cheapest in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful old, like the house is probably over 100. It's definitely over 100 years, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's like maybe
It's like
120 now.
130.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
but it's big.
All right. So Wesley and Isaac go back to Mama after 2 years.
Mhm.
You buy a house a week after they leave. And then
Yes.
you go on a flight and you come back. And how many kids are in your house? Because that's just what I'm
Two.
guessing what happened.
Two.
And this is
Two
Ethan and
Mexicans.
Nathan.
Yes.
Okay. And
Two
how
Mexicans.
old are So I'm right? Like
Yeah.
you gone and then you come back and there's
You
two
get
kids.
and then there was two Mexicans in my house.
2 Mexicans. Okay. How old were Ethan and Nathan?
14 and 16.
Oh, so Roy was like, fuck the kids. We're going to do teenagers now.
Well, Roy had this talk with our worker and said that he only wanted to be placed with children who are up for adoption, who are still in foster care but are up for adoption because he
That
didn't want to have to deal with
has been
reunification.
taken, like there's been a
Mm-hmm.
TPR. That's
Yeah, like
that's
so
how I did mine. Because I
right,
didn't want to have to give them back.
Yeah, same with us.
Yeah.
right,
So,
and then so
just for our listeners, TPR means for termination of parental rights. I don't know what they
Mhm.
call it in West
I
Virginia.
think it's the same.
Okay, just want to
I
make sure.
think it's-
Well, he said TPR. So.
Well, no, I just
Mhm.
but for the listeners, I just want to explain what the acronyms mean.
Okay, so so that was that, but they had lied.
Yeah, I was about to say
who lied?
his version of DHR.
DHHR.
Oh, okay.
So in West Virginia,
There-
it's DHHR,
Yeah, DHHR.
Department
Yeah,
of Human.
Department of Health and Human Resources.
Yeah. For us, it's Department of Human Resources.
Yeah, DHHR, and then like CPS, it's a division of DHHR and
Okay.
whatever. So, well, yeah, so DHHR lied, and then their mom still had rights, but the mom lived in Mexico.
Mom had been deported.
Oh.
So we're like, okay.
How does that
Okay,
work?
so mom had right in
She was
Mexico.
in illegal.
No, I know what, but I mean, like, you have to go to Mexico to terminate the right. Like, that's a crazy situation in my head.
Right. So, the mom was because the kids were born in the U.S., so they had the rights to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
The mom still had the rights to the children, so but the moms needed to have she still needed to be able to complete parenting. Like I'm not entirely sure what her role would have been because she would not have she still would have just had legal rights, even though they weren't living there. I don't know what she probably would have honestly been forced to, on a child payment plan. I'm
Right.
sure she probably would have had to be forced to pay child support
Hmm.
Hmm.
on some level.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure what all that entailed, but there were times where she needed to sign paperwork, and then so I'm like, okay, I will fly to Mexico, and I will get you. I will get these papers signed. On 3 occasions, I flew to Mexico, and she no showed,
Oh no.
Feej,
and I'm
I
like,
will say
yeah,
this as a friend of yours for 30 years, you were too helpful.
I was,
You still are.
I was, I was, and then so it was so we went back and forth for probably a year and a half before the court was just like, we're terminating your rights.
Right. Well, 3 no-shows should 1 no-show should be like,
Right, but it
and
wasn't
the situation, you're in Mexico, your children are US citizens, there's no, unless you go and get your um green card or
Were Nathan and Ethan not able to go back to Mexico, or did she not want them in Mexico?
she didn't want them in Mexico.
It was for like
And
economic reasons, or was she just didn't want them?
no, I think she just didn't want them because
No.
she kept their sister.
oh
Oh
wow. Oh,
God.
that's gotta be fucked up for them.
Yeah, it really messes up Nathan. Like
God.
that's the one that really messes him up.
Yeah.
It Ethan, I think, has a lot of trauma from it as well, but he's bounced back a lot
I
more.
got you. Okay. So TPR finally
Mm-hmm.
after like a year and a half. So
Mm-hmm.
now they're 18 and
No, they was still,
They were still
yeah,
very
he was
under.
18, he was still 16 because we were able to, but he's still not the first one that we adopted.
okay.
There's still, because after those two, I come home and then we have this little blonde boy just randomly. I'm like, hi, who are you?
Is this Zach?
He's like, hi, I'm Zach.
Oh, Jesus.
How old Zach?
Zach was 9.
Okay. So you have some
Yeah.
Mexicans. Yeah.
No, Zach wasn't Mexican.
Oh,
Zach was a straight up blonde
no, no, no,
haired,
no.
blue
I
eyed
mean,
white boy from South Carolina.
Ethan and Nathan were the
Yeah.
Mexicans. And then you
Mm
have a blonde haired white boy, 9.
hmm. Mm hmm. And he came to us from Munchausen by proxy
No.
and
Oh my
Cyclovia.
God.
Yeah, so his mom had like him and his sister hospitalized multiple times. He's had multiple
No.
surgeries.
That should be TPR. Like,
Right, he had feeding tube for like the first 3 years of his
oh
life.
my God.
He he had so many surgeries that he can't vomit.
Oh my
He
God.
can't physically vomit, so it becomes a really big thing that like if it gets to a point to where he has to vomit, they have to pump his stomach.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not
poor
good. So
baby.
like he always had uh a waiver to where he would where lunch was X amount of time, he'd get 45 minutes to eat lunch instead of the
Whatever the
allotted
other
like
kids get.
25 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Because he has to eat slowly so that the
Yeah.
food digests,
Mm-hmm.
because you
Yes,
don't need him to
because
get
he
a
can't.
feeding tube or a
Correct.
pump in his stomach.
Exactly. So like if whatever happened, so like anytime, and it was weird because like he's like, I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling good. I'm like, okay, but he wouldn't be able to describe what it was wrong with him. So we'd have to take him to the hospital several times
Yeah.
just because. And then so like it was that was a little bit rough at first. It was.
Ah,
Then we've learned over the years. He's learned how to like manage it better. He's learned,
right.
he knows what his limits are and that sort of thing. So we're like, okay, that's that. And then, but that's how he got taken from mom. So him and his sister got placed with dad.
Okay.
Now, this is the gem. Dad um would invite people over and make videos of Zach and having sex with Zach's sister.
No. When he
Yeah.
was 9?
Yeah, and his sister was 11.
What the fuck?
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, that baby is scarred for life.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
And so he's always been hypersexualized.
Right. Well, I mean,
Always been
yeah.
hypersexualized, and I'm like, okay, well, there's that. So,
Therapy.
well, yeah, well, his sister, I felt because his sister was hospitalized in a mental institution, many mental institutions, and then the sad thing is when she turned 18, they literally kicked her out.
Well, yeah,
Ugh.
because they don't care.
They don't care. And then so she made her way to West Virginia from Kentucky,
Well,
and then
wow.
we're not sure what happened to her. But if I had to take an educated guess, and this is just being very realistic, she probably had to turn to prostitution.
Well, yeah,
If I had to take
to
it,
get from Kentucky to West Virginia, you're sexually. She's probably
I'm
hyper too,
sure,
as well, because of.
of course.
Yeah, and then you ain't got no money. Oh my
Hmm.
God.
Yep.
Okay, so how are with Ethan, right?
Ethan and
Yep.
Ethan and
No,
Nathan.
Ethan,
no,
Nathan,
no.
and
Oh,
Zach.
sorry, the 9-year-old. What was his
Zach.
Zach?
Zach.
So with Zach, how long did you have Zach, or do you still have, or do you, or
Yeah,
you still have?
Zach's-
Oh, Zach's ours.
So you adopted
Zach, we
Zach.
adopted.
Okay,
Zach
so
was the
that
f-
was the first adoption.
Yes.
Okay, and
Because
how old?
he was the easiest to adopt because his was the only one that actually
The
had.
TPR.
Yes.
So how old is
Hmm.
he now?
21.
Okay, and how is he doing?
Well,
I'm
he's living at our house with his girlfriend.
okay.
Hey, welcome to the
How old
club.
is his girlfriend?
His girlfriend's 20.
Okay. So there's not like a big gap. Okay.
No, none of them. Oh, and then they he had a talk with Roy, and he's not sure why he's with her
Okay.
because she's only a 4, but her pussy's a 9.
Oh.
Huh?
Okay.
Yep.
I know, and I'm like, I can't
He takes after
believe
Roy.
that.
He's not into lookers.
Not into
Oh, full
lookers.
circle. Oh my
Full
God.
circle. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Takes after his mama.
There you
That's
go.
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
So you've adopted Zach,
At that
Mm-hmm.
point.
and then
Right.
is that when you get Wesley and
Isaac back?
Isaac back?
Um.
Or have you adopted Ethan and Nathan yet?
Okay, so Wesley and Isaac were staying with us every weekend at that point, but not.
As
But mom,
fosters? Just as
no,
babysitters?
just as babysitter.
Mom, if I remember the story correctly, she was the kid. Zach and Wesley were back with mom, but mom,
Isaac.
no, Isaac was
Yeah, Isaac.
Isaac
was.
and Wesley.
Isaac and Wesley were back with mom, but she would drop them off. Like she still had a relationship with Feege and Roy, and she would drop them off with you so she could go get high on heroin.
Yep.
Okay.
So she was like,
Okay.
they're not in danger because they're being taken care of.
So she only did it on the weekends, which is a lie.
Or whenever.
Yep.
But
And then you still had not Steven,
and
Ethan and Nathan.
and Nathan. Yep.
So you had at one point 5 at like on the weekends, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you adopted Zach. You got
Mhm.
Ethan and Nathan.
Yep.
Did you get any more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I'm trying to hold up my
Um,
hand and keep track of all these kids.
What? 2 I can't talk about.
Okay.
I can just give you rough
No, that's
whatever.
Yeah.
Was it another you went on a trip and came back and then they were gone?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that probably happened
Eh.
several times that you might not even know about.
Right.
Okay.
We can call that. We will call him Smithy.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a random name.
So, all right, yeah, because this kid was random.
Now,
So
wait, is Smithy the one that you've told me about that had the interactions with Zach?
No.
Nope. Okay.
No. This is the one that has been in the system enough to know
How to
and
manipulate
to know what to say.
Right.
So when you don't get what you want,
You go somewhere
Um,
else.
You make a claim.
Yeah.
he made a claim, and then he had stated that Roy was sexually abusing him.
So another
Yeah.
teenager?
Yeah, he was 13 at the time.
God.
Yeah,
Okay. So Smithy came and went.
came and went.
Now, because of the claim, though, did you get to keep the 5 that were coming and going?
we had adopted
Zach.
at the time. Ethan, Nathan, and Zach were adopted,
Okay.
and then
Wesley.
Isaac and Wesley were
Weekends.
just still weekend warriors.
Okay. Babysitting. So not necessarily in the foster system.
Correct.
With you. Okay.
Correct. Then that all got resolved, and then we got this other kid named Liam.
Named what?
Liam.
Liam. Teenager?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was 1 year older than Zach. So if Zach was 10, he was 11.
Okay.
Now, I will say,
Okay.
Feach, like, I know the story. You may not want to get into too specific
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if you want to throw Zach's business out there, but you tell the story. I'm going to go potty and y'all keep talking. I'll be right back.
Was this just
Okay.
that Liam and Zach interacted?
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah. This was a Liam and Zach interaction because Liam had already identified as gay.
Okay.
And then I did not want to take him into the house.
Right, because you don't want to bring any more trauma to Zach because of...
Or anyone. I didn't want anyone.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I just don't want any issues.
Right.
And then I checked my attitude at the door. I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous because why? Just because a child's gay does not mean he's going to act on.
But with the trauma in their lives, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. And then Roy came home and found Liam giving Zach a blowjob.
Okay.
So we're like, he had to go.
So Liam
And then Liam had to go.
Yep.
And
Zach
then Zach
is
was like,
yours, and you got to protect
Zach
your
is
son.
ours. And then so we were like, you can't do that, my guy.
Right.
And then he's all like, why? And then he's all like, Liam wanted to suck my dick. And then if he did so, he said he was going to wash all the dishes. I don't want to do the dishes. Why can't he just suck my dick and do the dishes?
Oh.
And I was like, I understand that argument because you're getting a win-win, but it's not a win-win.
For Zach and all his trauma, and that's not how we deal with doing the dishes.
That's not how we do it doing the dishes.
Yeah, so, that's what we'll leave it at. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how we're going to leave that one at that.
So Liam's gone.
And Liam is gone.
And when we're done with this interview, we'll tell you the real Jennifer.
Well, I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. All right, so Liam's gone, and then any more?
There was a couple more. I don't remember their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. One I felt bad. One we only had for a weekend. No, like a week. But it was because he got removed from his parents, and then his aunt couldn't take him. His aunt could take him, but his aunt lived in a different school district, and he only had like a week of school left, and he wanted to graduate at that school. Yeah. So we harbored him for a week.
Well, that was nice.
Just so he can graduate.
And then go to his aunt's. Nice.
And then there was just a couple of more that just weren't a fit.
Right.
And then there was more that
I got you. And so Wesley and Isaac, back to the original two that were weekend warriors, and you were just babysitting them.
Right. I made a call. Well, I made Roy make the call, and then he didn't do it right, so then I went down to DHHR.
There's your problem again, Feeds. You keep helping him.
Right? So I went, because Roy was like, Roy would get so angry at the situation. I'm like, but DHHR is not going to do anything because they're safe. It doesn't matter. Like, DHHR doesn't care if you're a good parent. They care if the children are safe,
right.
if they're fed,
right.
If they're like, nobody cares if you're a good parent. I mean, but they have way too many things to worry about. So as long as the kids have a safe place to go, as long as the kids always have food, then DHHR is not going to step in because they don't want to deal with a situation that they're already overwhelmed with.
Right. But I don't think a heroin addict can do it just on the weekends. I don't think it works that way.
Well, she was doing it for a while that way.
It was, whatever. So we stand our ground. Well, I stand our ground, and then they're all like, "Okay, well, do you want to continue watching them?" And I'm like, "Not unless we're getting paid."
Right.
And I say it, I say it like that. Not unless we're getting paid. We need to get paid for this
That's
because
right.
I'm not doing it for free.
Right.
Amen, girl.
And Mama's not getting
Amen.
money because she's spending it on heroin.
Right. So they end up coming back, and then it was like another year and a half to 2 years of visitation and this and care plans and improvement plans and
Back and forth.
benchmarks and drug testing. Eventually, we adopted them. And I didn't even really want to adopt them, I'm not going to lie, but they've been part of our life for,
Ever.
at that point, years. I'd probably say 6 years at that point.
Right? Because they were your
So,
first set.
first set
Besides
that
the 2
stuck.
and the
Yeah.
7-year-old.
That
Yeah.
stuck. Yeah.
Besides the duck
Uh-huh.
killer.
Yeah.
That's like the duck killer. And so, yeah. And then so they were adopted. Um, Wesley ended up going to military school, graduated in National Guard.
Good for him.
Now, then he got a girl pregnant.
Oh, well, sounds about right.
Yeah.
So you have your first grandchild, right?
Uh, Two grandchildren because
Oh,
then he got another girl pregnant
Oh,
a few months later.
bless
oh
him.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So two granddaughters, same dad. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Have
And
they
he
moved in
stayed.
yet?
No, they live down the street though.
Oh,
And I like her a lot. I like her. She's frumpy. And I say that because Wesley has a type. And when I say he has a type, he always liked bigger girls, which is fine because Michael finds guys that only wants to date bigger men. So
Everyone has their
their type.
type,
right.
But the
yes.
reason he has that type isn't because of an attraction. It's because they'll give up the pussy.
Quicker.
They'll easily give up the pussy.
Yeah, he goes for girls with self-esteem issues.
So is
Yes.
he with either baby mama?
The new baby
New
mama
baby
he's with.
mama. Okay.
Yep. And then we go and we babysit and it's fun.
Are you still fostering or are you done?
No, that's done. I
Okay.
can't do it anymore.
So you have
I'm
adopted
too
5 children over these years.
Yes.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
Isn't there a sixth one you adopted?
There's yeah, but we didn't end up like Patrick. Yeah, so he was staying with us. We were in the middle of trying to adopt him. He aged out. He ended up joining the Marines.
I thought the adoption was finalized though.
I thought it was too, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Because because he was the one that was doing it all on his end.
Mhm.
Because as a legal adult, like I guess he do it. I don't know with the military and whatever. I don't know. He was going to
But he's part of
initialize
the
the adoption
family.
process.
Doesn't
Kind
matter if
of.
he's adopted or not.
Yeah, well, that would be the case until he just went MIA.
Oh, okay.
Like he went MIA 2 years ago, and no one knows what's
wow.
up with him.
He was a friend of Nathan and Ethan, wasn't he? And like their
Yeah, he
group
was a friend of
home.
Nathan and Ethan. He was also in the foster care system. He would stay with us all the time.
You babysat a
Um,
lot for
we
free.
we took him. Yeah, we took him to college. We did his dorm room. We'd send him birthday and Christmas and Easter
Aw.
presents and all that stuff. And then he ended up joining the Marines. We went to like his graduation on Paris Island. We helped him get settled. He was out in California for a while, and then we just lost touch. He just dropped off the face of the earth, and he just doesn't. I think he just wanted to like end this chapter,
Yeah.
and have a different life,
Right.
which is his right.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the time, we're like, he was down for adoption and he was initiating it on his end, and he was all like, yeah, I need to go to the lawyer, and then it's going to be finalized, whatever. And then nothing ever happened. So,
Yeah.
Well, you helped him when he needed the help. And
Yeah.
hopefully
that's
he's off living a productive life.
correct.
And you have 5 kids.
So
Mhm.
how are Nathan and Ethan nowadays?
Okay, so Ethan got engaged. He was living in Hawaii because he's in the army, and then he just recently got stationed in Colorado. He's getting married. They're doing a JP wedding, so she can come out to Colorado, and so we'll see how that goes because he's in the army and she just got out of the Marines.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah.
Go
And
girl,
she's from
she's
Texas.
hardcore.
Yeah, so I am not sure, like this is just me being negative Nancy. I'm not sure how that relationship's gonna go. I hope it goes for the best, but I've been around military my entire life, and I've never known a female that was active that was perfectly content in just being a housewife
Yeah.
because she's going to have to, because he's a lifer, and she's going to have to literally move around and follow him because
Yeah.
wherever they send him is wherever she's going to have to go.
Right.
And so I think it limits her career options.
Right.
It's not like if she just wanted to be like a major in business and then all of a sudden she has an opportunity at PricewaterhouseCoopers and then they're moving
Right.
or
Right.
Marines
so
tell you where
unless
to go, you
it's a
go.
trade, exactly. So unless uh, a trade like radiology tech, nursing, something along those lines where you can pick up and go along, I don't. I'm being very negative when I say
Well, no,
I
it
don't have
makes
a lot of high
sense
hopes.
because if they're both active, they're in different
Mhm.
services. They don't
Mhm.
go to the same base,
Mhm.
and it doesn't
Well,
really.
she's out.
Oh, I thought
She just got out though.
Oh,
She's
She
out of
just got
she just
out.
got out
oh,
of the
she just
Marines,
got out.
but he's a
I thought you
lifer.
said that she was active. I apologize,
She was
but
active.
she's not anymore.
And then she's right. She just got out.
I
She
got
she
you.
completed her 8 years or 7 years, whatever it
Okay,
was,
so that's
whatever her
Ethan.
contract
That's
was.
Ethan, right?
Yes,
And Nathan.
Nathan was with his girlfriend Mackenzie forever, high school sweetheart. Mm. And then they just broke up.
Aw.
Aww.
But they broke up because it was bound to happen. They were having discussions over a year about children, and he and Nathan wants children, and Kenzie does.
Yeah,
It's
that's a pretty big gulf.
yeah.
It is, and then I mean, granted, but he's 27 and she's 25. There's no. At some point, yeah, you can wait, but at what point do you want to continue to wait?
Yeah.
Right.
And then, yeah, those are life goals.
Yeah.
Now, are Nathan and Ethan still in contact with their biological mom?
Yeah, he just went to Mexico to see her. Ethan talks to her just basically on Facebook.
What about their sister? Are they in contact with
Um, her sister came up to live here with Nathan for 1 week.
And then she was like, "Fuck this shit."
She said, forget this shit, and she went back to
She
Mexico.
went back to mama.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Ooh,
What about
I
Zach?
mean,
Or any contact? I would assume
Oh,
no contact with family, but any like does mom like
no,
lurk
but
around?
here's the
we
okay.
don't want Zach to have
So
contact with mama or daddy.
I agree, but he's
no,
an adult now, so I'm just wondering if they're like lingering around.
no, no, none of that. But Zach, okay, Isaac is gay, and he's dating some guy in Michigan that lives one town over from where my parents live. Okay, we'll call this boy Dan,
Okay.
mostly because I don't remember what his name is, so we'll call him Dan. Dan is 19. Well, that's fine because Isaac's 18. And we've always invited him down for a week. We're like, come on down, because the motherfucker ain't gonna show up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So come on down. We're not gonna go up there and pick him up,
Right.
but come on down if he wants to come down for a week, sure, because it's never going to happen.
Right.
So we've always been open in that aspect. Well, it came to light that Zach has been secretly messaging Dan as well.
Oh no.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yes.
But isn't
And then,
Zach still living with you with his girlfriend? Isn't that what you said?
yes.
And
Oh.
baby.
No,
No,
baby.
Oh no,
No.
you're right.
one,
You're
the
right.
one has
Oh,
the two babies
Right.
really close
yeah,
together.
no. So Zach is talking to Dan,
Oh.
and Isaac is really talking to Dan. And
there's a
Dan wants to
girlfriend.
come down for a week.
I bet he does.
Oh my god. Oh, that'll be an interest. That
Mhm.
you want to be
And
gone for that? Make Roy do everything and be like, I don't
I
care
want to
where
be
I'm
there
going.
for that. I want to be there for
Oh,
that.
you
That's
want
the
to be
one I
there for
want to
that
be there
drama?
for.
You know, pop some
Yes,
popcorn.
Just sit on the
yes,
couch with the
because
popcorn, sipping your tea.
the thing is, like, we find out all this stuff from like siblings,
Yeah.
And that, like, Nathan is the biggest, like, guess what I found out? But you're not supposed to know. Okay, I can't tell you. I can't tell you, but if you guess, then I'll confirm.
Oh,
He's all
I
like,
like
you might
Nathan
want to
more and
guess something
more.
with Zach.
That's
You
funny.
he's all like, not only do you want to guess something with Zach, but you want to guess something with Zach and someone who he's talking to.
Oh,
Like he just go ahead and guess.
Oh God, I love
oh,
Nathan
and then
Art
if
more and more.
and then the girlfriend's there, and then Dan comes and sees the brothers, it's gonna. Oh God.
It's gonna be something.
It's gonna
Oh,
be
that's
something.
like a Real Housewives episode right there.
It's gonna be
It's gonna
some
be drama.
polyamorous bullshit
And
going on.
tables flipping
Yeah,
and all kinds of crazy shit.
yeah.
Lord. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh my
that's
God,
Zach.
Fish, your life, like, I mean, we're gonna have you on like 8 more times just to get really into it. But
Yeah, like there's so many events that have happened over the years because we've been in the game for I don't even know how many years, well over a decade.
right,
Yeah,
So I mean,
because how long have you and Roy been married now? 12?
we got married the year it became legal, which was what 2014, 2015, whatever it was.
No, it wasn't. Oh, yeah, I guess it was 20. I think it was like 2016. Because Zane and I
Whatever it
we got married
because it was
we got legally married in
because
18.
well, we were legally married because some states had it, but some states didn't. Then when West Virginia got it is the year we got married. So I'm not sure whatever year DOMA happened
Yeah.
is the year we got married.
gotcha.
But I don't know. 2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Crazy. All right.
All right.
So we
Yeah.
did not have
So
a
we're gonna
snack, so we're gonna
we're-
take our break.
we're gonna take a quick break, and
And
we'll
then
be
remember, you got to give us a story.
Okay.
All
okay.
right.
We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. So normally on the podcast, this is the spot where we have a snack time, but we were also frazzled, and you're like laying in bed on your iPhone at the moment. So no snack time. We're just drinking. We're doing day drinking on a Sunday.
On empty stomach
Yeah.
for me.
All right. So no snack time, but
Yeah.
it is definitely story time. And 30
We've heard
years
a
of
lot of stories.
oh, Feej, like this is
Yeah.
why I've been wanting Feej on the podcast forever because he's just the king of stories. All right, Feej, what you got? What's your story time?
Which story do you want?
Well,
Girl,
just
whatever you want,
remember,
baby.
like I said, you gotta keep one in the back of your head, a funny one.
Yep.
Just
Oh.
Anything.
one. Remember, I said that most people like to talk about poop stories.
I will say I do know one. If you can't think of one, like, and you don't have to say which child it was, but I do remember you having to take one of your children to the doctor several times because
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that one.
Oh, he got
Because-
excited. He
Oh,
got
yeah.
up off
Yes.
the bed.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
yes.
talk about Zach. Let's talk. I'll
oh,
name
that's not
it.
the one I was thinking
All right.
of. But go ahead.
Oh, well, I have so many with doctors, but we'll just talk about this one because this one just hit me. Zach was very non-compliant with his meds. Okay.
Yeah, because his mama.
Zach
made
is very
him-
non-compliant with his meds.
Yeah.
It was so like when we would go and then we would try to get his meds altered. We'll just say, like his Lexapro or whatever needed to be upped or whatever it was. We would go in, and then so the doctor would have to interview Zach. Okay, and then so the doctor started asking him about him and his medication regimen. And then he told the doctor, "Oh, my parents don't give me my meds." So he's all like, "What do you mean?" He's all like, "No, they'll pick them up from the pharmacy, but I don't get them." So then there was an investigation because they thought that we were peddling his fucking psych meds. Bullshit.
Was he adopted
Bullshit.
at this time?
A huge he wasn't adopted at that
Oh,
time.
no.
At that time, no. So literally, so they think that we are literally peddling his Prozac,
Oh
his
God.
Ativan, all of it, all of it.
Oh, that's bad, Zach.
Oh my God! And I'm like, what do you mean?
Test him.
They're in the
He
kitchen.
has the medicine in his system. He took them this
But
morning or whatever.
Asshole. I was like, you asshole. And then so when I got home, I told Roy, I ain't taking this motherfucker ever to the doctor again. I'm like, if you want to take him to the doctor, you take him to the doctor. but I am not taking him to the doctor because now we're being
Oh
investigated
God.
for drug smuggling
Oh
or
my
whatever the fuck it was
God.
called.
So that is
Now you're a drug dealer.
so actually
I'm a drug dealer.
that is one of the few stories I didn't know. That's a new one to me.
Oh,
Now I was taught, and I want you to come back on the podcast and tell us about the foreskin. But
oh,
no,
Not
don't, you
now.
can't tell it now because
Yeah.
no, that's a different one.
we're already an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So
Next
Okay, girl.
episode, Feej. Next
Next
episode.
episode.
Because we got to talk
All
again.
right. Yes.
oh my god.
All right, and then we'll make sure to match up the right booze.
That's
That's
right. Yes, sir.
All right. So for all
All
our
right.
listeners, thanks for listening to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting. If you have any funny stories about your kids,
Or if you need some bad parenting advice, or if you have any ideas for topics,
please email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com.
or call us and leave us a message at 256-274-1329.
Thanks for listening to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating, whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like when our kids ask why they can't have your old car, even though they only have their driver's permit.
Tough shit. Gotta wait till you're 16.
Tough shit.
Thanks, Phoebe.
If I want to give you my
Thank
car.
you.
Thank you, Fee.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.